Hello there everybody and welcome to another episode of my show. You didn't think I would make another one, but here I am making another one. I don't think I thought myself that I would do one last week, but what happened was I didn't get around to doing it. Which is sad because I had a lot of things I wanted to talk about, and some of the things I will talk about today, but I forgot some of it. So I should have just like this whiteboard or something to just write down everything. So yeah, my name is Crown Erasmus, whatever you like to call me, you can call me. I don't care which, it's which. Some call me Ras as well, so we just have a million different names for me apparently. So, today I've actually written down some of the things I'm gonna talk about because I felt like probably would be much smoother. So, we tried out. I actually, when I started recording, when I was like doing my first episodes in the beginning, before I did a webcam, I used to have like list I would write down, oh, I should talk about this, I should talk about this if I ever like get stuck. And I don't know what point it happened, but some point I just like said, fuck it, we're just gonna not do that anymore. And yeah, I don't know if it was for the better or for worse, but here we are. I think I'm gonna just turn on Just gonna give myself a little bit better lighting because maybe eventually it will get darker and then it will just look sad of me sitting here alone in the darkness. So I think first things first, I'm gonna start out with like a little talk about my weekends at work because goddamn I seem to be quite unlucky. So, since I think I talked about last time that I had it was for Friday I recorded it. So, what happened the day after I recorded the last time, I had my coworker couldn't show up because she was sick. So I had to work alone until 11. And it was like super busy at one point, and like I'm working in a coffee shop and doing that like early on, it's in the weekend, so people are not getting up too early, but like from like 9 to 11 tend to be busiest hours on the weekend, so it's like goddamn, it's a mess. So yeah, so that happened. She got sick, and then I had to work alone 9 until 11, and so everything had to shuffle around, so I worked until like 2 o'clock that one, so I worked an hour longer than I was supposed to. And you say 2 o'clock, that sounds early, yeah, because I start 5:30. And then the Sunday, the day after, yeah, she was still sick, so, but that one day worked out fine. Last weekend, everything seemed to be back to normal, yada yada. And then this weekend, on Saturday, happened again, except like her grandpa or whatever passed away. So she was like, I can't work. I'm like, ah, fuck me. This is not happening again. So yeah, so that happened, and I worked alone until 11 again. And then at 1 o'clock when like, or 1:30 or whatever, when the guy came, I was like to him jokingly when I left, like, oh yes, dude, just please show up tomorrow, because he never really late or anything like that. And of course, he oversleeps, so I work alone until like 10 on Sunday. Which was funny. Like, we weren't busy on Sunday. Sundays are really slow, so it's just more funny than anything. But yeah, it's everything is just like a mess sometimes, I feel like. So nothing I can do about it. It just seems to everything always happens to me. So that's what I get for never, like, I'm never I've been late. I overslept once in my 2.5 years working here because that time I forgot to put my alarm on, which was the reason why I overslept that one. Because it said I had accidentally changed. It said 5 p.m. and not 5 a.m. So that's the problem you get when you're dealing with PM and AM system here in this country. So yeah, otherwise work has been fine. Like all these situations, you can't really do anything about it. It's stuff that happens. It's life. It's just, I don't feel like mad about any of these people. Just it's just funny. It's happened so much this last few weeks. It's just hilarious more than anything. So, what else have I been doing? So I went, was it last Monday? I went and saw Justice League. And my opinions of it is like this. That I think where some people will be quite upset is like it's similar to the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, where you have all these people come together for different it's not as whiny as the Avengers of the characters that come together. They're just like bitching so much in that movie. It's just frankly so annoying. So it's less of that, but then again, you have less like don't have the origin stories in this one. So for some people that may be a detriment because like you see some of like the reasons why like Cyborg has sort of origin story at least, so you can get to know his backstory. Flash and Aquaman doesn't really have anything in it, like in terms of backstory. So that's why like Wonder Woman seems to be more, it's probably a lot more people care about than some of the other characters. But then again, I feel like Wonder Woman's was one of the more weaker characters in this one. Maybe it's the actor, maybe it's the character, I don't know, but it's just she doesn't stand out anything at all in this one. And I thought she did pretty fine in the Wonder Woman movie, but in this one I don't know, she doesn't take her space that she should. She doesn't like command. She's more just like a character in it, and so yeah, don't really know what to say about her, frankly. And then Ben Affleck's Batman. I think he's solid. Like it's Batman. I don't know. He's not bad. He's not amazing. He's just does a solid Batman. So I don't think there's much more to say. I think Jeremy Irons as Alfred is amazing. I think he's one of the most underrated people in the entire series, probably. Like, even if Affleck were to leave, please keep Jeremy Irons as Alfred. He's such a perfect like character to just have like talk in the background to everything. And whenever Batman's like Alfred, and then you have Jeremy Irons, because he has one of the like best speaking voices in the world. Everyone's like, I feel like everyone's always say Morgan Freeman, but Jeremy Irons in my book is like almost as good in that terms. So it's just like he's so great at it, and it's probably one of my favorite parts of it. Amy Adams still terrible as Lois Lane. Sorry, but like, God, she. I would say she did better because there were some parts that she would just like was more like solo stuff, but like all her interactions with the mustache guy, who everyone knows now is alive. Yeah, like her and Superman, like they have zero chemistry, so it's all those interactions are so terrible. It's just no one no one would ever believe they're being together. It's just not. just stop. That's what I feel. So yeah, maybe I should talk about more the plot than just not the characters. So, I mean, the plot was like you could feel the in the beginning, like the whole beginning of the movie I felt was done pretty well. The first half of the movie was done really, really great. But like for the DC movie, like it's so much harder to, with the different power levels and that sort of stuff. I feel like it's hard to know how, like I feel like they didn't fully know how to execute it in the end. Like it was just okay and okay conclusion, everything, but there was nothing amazing. There was nothing like characters that like made it like, oh, this is fantastic. There's nothing that really stood out from it. The beginning was like solid beginning, solid like threat level. You could feel like the impending doom, that whole sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you can't pull off it like the execution in the end and you have a solid end, it's a good movie for most of it, but it just falls a little short. Then again, I thought it was going to be terrible, and it was like a massive improvement to Batman vs Superman, which was so dumb. The entirety of that movie is completely idiotic, and this one was a big, massive improvement. And I think for like to do Aquaman and the Flash movie and that sort of stuff, I think they're gonna pull off pretty well. Like I like Ezra Miller. I've always liked him as an actor. So the way they do Flash, okay, I can see that. Like it'd be interesting to see how. Like I never thought of him as like main actor in that sort of regard. So it's gonna be interesting to see him holding his own for an entire movie. So I'm excited about that. And what else have I been doing? I've been playing I got my old 3DS, so I've been playing the new Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I got the Ultra Sun this time because I got Pokemon Moon last time. So yeah, what did I thought about this one? For it's like, what do they say? Like 70% is still the same, and then there's 30% added on to it, extra stuff. And they say it's like double the length, but it's also like 1/3 longer, maybe. It's not double, definitely not. And I still have yet to do the Rainbow Rocket post-game stuff, so I don't know if that's a solid chunk and compared to just catching the Ultra Beast in the last one. But it was much more like they upped the difficulty so that having the like EXP share, like sharing thing for Pokemon, so you could play with the same team through the entire thing and not be overpowered. So they finally balanced that out, and also they have one fight in it that is like insanely hard, and I was not prepared for it the first time I played it, and got like destroyed. But then when I went back and faced him again, I destroyed him. So all in all, good things. Would I suggest to buy this again? Like, it's a better experience to play this one because it's like the difficulty setting is more comparable to the older generation, like the Black and White and the Platinum and all those way back. So it's much more. You don't really have to grind, but it's still difficult, which I like. And the story, it's just frustrating too. It's like, because I replayed the Pokemon Moon not too long ago, like a month ago or something like that, in anticipation of this. And I regret so much doing that, because sitting on some of these things again, and like I would have been more. I wish they didn't do it like this. I wish they would have like a completely alternate story taking place at the same time. It would have been so much cooler, in my opinion. And more like Black and White 2, which people say was different. You start different towns, I think, or something like that. I never really got into the Black and White games because, I don't know, I didn't like them. Like, the story and the Pokemons in those games, mainly. Don't know why, but I like some of the Pokemons now from that generation, but I didn't then. It's weird, I know. But anyway, yeah, would I suggest, like, if you haven't played the first one and you want to play Pokemon and still have difficulty, it's a really great game to get. Otherwise, you can just wait until this one gets cheaper and then play it, because you're not missing out much unless you want to play competitive, or if you want to catch a lot of legendaries, because this one has a lot of them. So yeah, and the whole Mantine surfing they announced, it was fun for like 2 seconds, and then I got so bored with it. So it's sometimes with all these mini games, you're like, okay, will this be good? And then you play it once, but it's just so do the same thing over and over again, and it's like, it could have done so much more to this. It's not mindless, it's just boring. So yeah, I don't know, I don't have much to say about the game. It's basically the same game again, with like a little bit alternate story. Like, imagine someone time traveled into a world. That's basically what happens. So someone or coming from a different dimension and that sort of stuff. So you just add a few characters and suddenly it ends up going a little bit differently than the last time. That's basically what happened. More than that, it's not really changed though. And some other Pokemon is in it as well. That's wasn't in it last time. So it's like an alternate timeline, but still similar end stuff. So oh yeah, I don't think I talked about it the last time, but crazily Sweden made it to the World Cup. That's insane to me. Like, we beat Italy, it's just crazy. So yeah, so I get to watch them play in the World Cup in Russia next year. Do I think they will do anything at all in that cup? I mean, in World Cups, when they've been in there before, they've made it past the group stage. So I'm hoping that at least we can do that. But I doubt it. It depends on the group and the teams we get, because some teams are more suited to play than others. So yeah, don't know. We'll remain. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. That's to say less. I mean, if we can manage beating out Italy, we still have a decent shot, I would say, to doing okay, at least. Hopefully that means that we can make it past the group stage. I mean, Costa Rica made it out of the last World Cup, so if Costa Rica can do it last World Cup, then we can do it in this one. That's what I feel, at least. And then, before I have a more of a bigger sort of topics, not bigger, but like a lot more like in-depth things I'm going to talk about later in this podcast. But I feel like shortly talk about this whole like gaming debacle thing with EA and loot boxes and all of this shit, because my god, it's been insanity. Like the people have gone absolutely crazy about this. The amount of people that just like, if someone even plays the Battlefront 2 game, people will be like, oh my god, I'm so betrayed that you're playing this. It's such a horrible game. You shouldn't play it at all. Don't ever play it, like, because the practice of EA, blah. And it's just like, you're not even allowed to play the single player campaign on it, because then people are mad that you're doing that. And it's just like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, I fully understand getting upset about like all this loot boxes and that sort of things, but I mean, Jesus Christ, like, this is not as bad as FIFA Ultimate Team, or like, I don't know how bad it is in like Ultimate Team in Madden. Like, all of these games have Ultimate Team, which basically is you trying to get a better player, and if you want it faster, you can buy more loot boxes, and like they higher like rarity and that sort of stuff, and they cost like absurd amount of like money you have to spend for this. You can do it without spending any money. There's a guy, Nepenthes, who has a Road to Glory account, who can show you all the tricks and everything you can to not pay. But this is like, they're getting better and better at it, so that you don't have to so you can still got decent amount of players, blah 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 blah. But like, these are now like, if people actually had played like 3 or 4 years ago, when you didn't have that many options to like get that extra gold coins and that sort of stuff, than just playing season mode or whatever. It was freaking hard if you wanted to get the Cristiano Ronaldo's, Leo Messi, and all these players. And it's the same, like, it's like, I would say it's worse, definitely worse, because like that's actually pay to win when you think about it, because but you can't at least straight up just pay for the only thing I would say is the fact that Darth Vader and that sort of stuff, that sort of thing is worse in Battlefront 2, at least, because that, like, since those heroes are so, like, the heroes are so like important in the Battlefront to win, and like, if you get a Vader who's like Insanity or Darth Maul or whatever, like those like if that kind of characters are locked behind a paywall, that's bad, because like, I feel like all the heroes should have been not, like, one thing to have like guns and that sort of stuff, even then I feel like that's bad, but locking the heroes is what makes it terrible. So I for the so EA has done this shit for a long time, so I wish just people had this passion sooner, because they even did it. They did loot boxes in Mass Effect 3 as well. I think it was Mass Effect, like, and people didn't cry out then. So it's just sad that they like we can't get this passion for a lot of other things as well, because my God, EA is like probably is gonna be deemed again as the worst company in the world, above companies that fucking like poison the waters and killing people. No. Loot boxes, that's what's worst in the world. Screw like killing people. That's not nothing. That's gambling. Gambling in a video game, that's the worst thing in the world. You can just laugh at it at some point, because that's what I do. I find it ridiculous. Like, yeah, I understand, like, there should be an outrage, but like, calm the ass down. Like, outrage against EA and that sort of stuff, but like some other people, you just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play the single player on YouTube. You fucking betrayed us all. Like, how can you? It's like, it's disgusting. I lose all my respect for you. Jesus fucking Christ. What the fuck is wrong with you people? So that's what I'm gonna say about it. I'm having a vanilla shake today because I felt like it. Okay, so I don't think I really want to talk more about all this. I mean, net neutrality I might mention for a second. Just fucking keep it, US. You fucking dumbass if you not. That's all you have to say. Anyone who thinks net neutrality should be gone, they shouldn't be an American, and they should be exiled. That's what I say. Like, they're not Americans, they're greedy fucking people. They don't care about your country, they only care about your money. There you have it. Throw them in prison now. They don't deserve that. They deserve to be exiled because they're counted as Americans because all Americans is about this. Or like, for some of them it's like, yeah, becoming something and becoming rich or whatever. You can be anything, even greedy people that screws over everyone else. Woo! Believe in your dream. Probably offended someone with that statement, but hey, come at me. Okay, so the thing I was gonna talk longer about today was TV shows I've been watching. That made no sense, that's a line. But yeah, so I've been watching, I always watch a lot of TV shows, but this year I feel like this TV season has been probably without a doubt the weakest one in many, many years. Like, usually it always comes like a few shows, new TV shows that are like, oh, it's a cool new season, or like cool pilot of a new show or whatever. Very, very few have been good so far of the newer stuff. And I'm very disappointed because I don't know if they don't take as much risk anymore, or just I don't seem to, there doesn't seem to be many shows that appeal to me. Because yeah, sure, we have a lot of, like, Marvel seem to be really adamant of creating a lot of different shows. So maybe I should start off with Marvel, and I'm just gonna bring another tab up so I can remember what the hell I've been watching, because yeah, it's a lot of things I've been watching. So I always watch a lot of things, and okay, we should start with Marvel, right? Because that's always what's end up. I will, yeah. So, what's come out this season with Marvel? So Marvel has 2 on Netflix. It's Defender and Punisher. But I won't start with those because I feel like starting with Runaways, Gifted, and Inhumans. I don't know if Inhumans has gotten better, but I watched like 3 episodes and I said, fuck this. That's usually, like I've said this before, I think on this, on one of my older podcasts, that I usually, like, if it's not a good show, I stop after 3 episodes because sometimes the pilot is not, like, doesn't show you how the show it really is. So I usually give it like 2 more episodes. Sometimes I will stop after the first one if it's just like, this show is not for me. It's not about if the show is good or not. It's just like, it's not really my style of show. So, but in Humans, I watched like the 3 first episode. I couldn't. There was nothing in it that made me, oh, this is interesting. It's just like, it's just, I don't know if I would say terrible. It's just average, and it's hard time having you care about anything really. That's how I felt it, at least. The plot, the story, like as someone who's not a comic book person, like sure I've been getting into all this comic show, TV, movies, and that sort of stuff. But apart from, I read a few years ago. I read like one batch of like 4 for his. They had a batch of him, a comics run of something. I don't remember. I don't know how I just started reading that one, but it was not particularly amazing. But for some reason, I decided to read it. So apart from that, I didn't know much about comic books in general before that. Sure, I had a lot of like TV shows, like all the old like Batman, Spider-Man, and all those. Those I used to watch because they were amazing. X-Men, all of those, like everyone should watch those. They're on, like, most of them are on Netflix, so hell, watch them. Freaking amazing. Yeah, so Inhumans, I don't have a lot to say because I just watched 3 episodes and it's like, it's meh. The Gifted, I liked better. Like it had, I think they made it smart. It was smarter because it's like it felt like it's based around this group of people, like stowaways in this building. And yeah, I like the fact that it's like a smaller show. It's more about the people in it and what they will do. Sure, I don't see how for right now I don't see how they will make a whole season and then more than that, because it's hard. It's just a small little show right now in my eyes. So if they can manage to eventually broaden it or like move it or whatever they plan to do with it, it's gonna be interesting to see if they can pull it off. But right now I doubt they will pull it off, but I'm intrigued at least. And I watched the first premiere of the Runaways shows, the Runaways first 2 episodes. I can't say anything about it because it's the whole double long episodes. First one was like, the way they did it, I don't really like it. It's like the first episode was about kids and the second one was about the adults. And so it basically was the same episode told from 2 different angles. And I don't know, like if you continued on, like if it was a binge show, then I wouldn't have minded, because that's a good opening for a binge show in my opinion. But when you just watch the first 2 episodes and then like, okay, now I have to wait a week before something actually really happens, because yeah, wow, your parents are evil, that's what you got to know in the first one. And not really in so much more until something actually like happens or they actually become runaways. Then this show might finally be getting interesting. But right now, the first 2 episodes told me nothing, basically. And then Defender show. I don't know if I ever talked about it or not, but it was like it was not that done. It was okay, but not better than that. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about Defenders. It was more like a big setup for Daredevil season 3. It's like when you have all these characters and it's set up for one show, then you see how Daredevil has become bigger than the rest of them, even though Daredevil season 2 wasn't that great. But it had great episodes in it, at least I would say that. The whole like Daredevil Punisher episode, amazing. And then the Punisher, amazing. Probably the best one alongside season 1 of Daredevil, without a doubt. Yeah, I thought, like, I heard some people would say like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, they shouldn't have these, like, stop having 13 episodes and have a little bit less after they had been watching Punisher. But I feel like that was wrong. I felt like it's like, yeah, maybe cut out 1-2 episodes, otherwise it was perfectly done great. Weirdest English ever. Yeah, weirdest English ever. I probably will probably cut up talking about TV shows into one next time as well, because I didn't realize how much I watch. So I will start with just a few things that I feel like I've been watching recently. It's and it's more like relevant. Which one was I gonna? I feel I'm just gonna talk about the things that are new this season. I feel like that has debuted, except from the Marvel stuff I just talked about. I actually don't have a lot. Like, I thought I would have more to say about Punisher, but I was thinking about why I liked it and why it was better than the rest. But it's just, Punisher is so much more relatable in some sense, because it's not really a superhero show, Punisher. It's more like a action crime drama. Okay, call it that. Action drama. It's maybe accurate to describe it. It's just, it's more of an intense show, and sure, you kind of think, oh yeah, the main character won't really die, but because, I mean, that's how all American TV shows are. Nobody dies of the main stuff, so you already know that. But everyone else is fair game. So you don't really know who will die and who will survive. But it seems like, so you felt like much more intense, and they also did that with Daredevil's first season. You could really tell it was like anyone could go. I mean, even Daredevil himself felt like you could almost. It felt like he could be the one as well to go. And maybe the common denominator is how, like, you can do so much more. Like, you have Daredevil, who doesn't have any superpowers. You have Punisher, who doesn't have superpowers. And compare them to Jessica Jones, who, that was like, I liked some of it for Jessica Jones. They just freaking dragged it out. If that show was only 8 episodes long, I think it would have been amazing. If it was a short show, it would have been amazing. Luke Cage, probably a similar thing, 8, 9, 10 shows. Shorten it down, it would have been much, much better and much more intense about it. Because, like, Luke Cage, I felt like when they killed off a certain character in episode 7, I think it was, the show was just like just felt like down to me after that point. Like, certain character was the show for me. So when that character got killed off, it was like, okay. So you kept the uninteresting character and made that one boss instead. And instead, you kill off that one. And you're like, Iron Fist, who the fuck came up with the idea? Oh yeah, we're gonna make a kid the main character. A naive kid. And you're like... And the fact is, he doesn't get any smarter or learning anything of it. It's like a brainwashed kid is the main character. It's just... I understand, like, you wanted a character to be this way, but my god, it makes, like, for comic, that probably works, but for TV, it just makes for terrible watching. It's just so terrible. It's just frustrating to watch. Holy crap. I wish that was short to watch. And then you ended up with Defender that was just a mashup, and just it felt a little bit more like how the Avengers, like, even what's her name, Sigourney Weaver as the main bad guy. You would have thought in the Defender, oh yeah, you have a strong actress, a really great actress as the main villain, and it resulted in nothing. It's just disappointment, because but then Punisher comes out and just gives you hope again. And hopefully that results into whenever Daredevil season 3 comes out, and you can there's hope again. So I got off track from what I was good. So yeah, season 1's of a few shows. So Fox had Ghosted, which is like this kind of they fight. It's like a comedy show where there's like a disgruntled, like a fired professor because he said that the multiverse existed, and they called him a crazy person because he said alien took his wife, which, I mean, maybe not aliens, but something happened. And then the police officer that screwed up, who didn't call for backup, got fired or whatever, works as a security. So they end up being hired by this agency, hidden government that fights the multiverse and aliens. And yeah, it's a fun little comedy. It's solid. It's American comedy, so So like every other comedy, it's like one episode is like awesome, next episode is like terrible, and then the third one it may be average, and then two great ones, and then it's hit or miss. It's always with all the comedies. Except Brooklyn Nine-Nine tend to be more hit than miss, and that's how you kind of judge it. Like I used to like Big Bang Theory early on, but after a certain point, they can't come up with any interesting stuff, and certain people some people would have moved away. Some people like having the same people together for that long time. Yeah, it gets something interesting after a while. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting. I want to talk about Good Doctor, but I don't know if I want to talk about. I had something else before that. And I can't remember what it was. Why can't I remember? Oh yeah, The Brave. That was a good show. Alright, still a good show. It's like a SEAL team that goes all over the world and solves what no one can solve, pretty much. And if they fuck up, then the government will basically say, well, there are no ties with the government. So they're always risking their lives, and they might end up being fucked because of it. So yeah, it's similar to all the other that kind of shows. So if you just want another one of those, then have at it. And then the last one, The Good Doctor, which I highly recommend. It's about an autist doctor. And I don't think I have to say anything more, because anyone who knows anyone autistic knows how difficult they can be to handle, or how interesting like situations derive from that kind of people. So it just makes for a really good show so far, and writing is on point. So yeah, I won't say much more because I want you to watch it. That's the bottom line of it. Good Doctor, really recommend it. It's sure there are a lot of like ER shows type of things all over there, but I don't know, it's none of them are really that interesting. Like Grey's Anatomy, it's just about the people. There's like nothing interesting at all, in my opinion, most of the time with them. Like you had the old ER show that went for like 20 years. I used to watch that for so many years, and then eventually like so many people get changed out and replaced, and yeah, it was a good show. It was lasted for such a long time. And yeah, I normally don't watch a lot of these. House was one of them. It's like, that one was somewhat interesting, but still, I say The Good Doctor has so far been amazing. I think maybe there's another one tonight of episodes, so looking forward to it. So I think that's about it today. Maybe not one of my better episodes, but I'm not as hyper as I think I was last time, or I'm not as in a solid podcasting mood, maybe. Is that the right word for it? it's hard to like always predict when you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be on point right now. I'm gonna be solid. I'm gonna talk perfectly for 50 somewhat minutes. But I thought this one is gonna be more shorter, but still 50-minute episode. So I want to thank you all for listening, watching, whatever you're doing, and you can follow me on any social media things. And if you got this far, like type dumbass in the comments or jackass, anything. Like it, I don't know, I don't care what you do with it. Episode, if you spread it, oh my god, it might become like a disease. But anyway, thank you and good night.